let's do one of mine and then one of yours or whatever, and then
Yes.
Okay, good.
I love this.
All right. Okay. The way I found this out is I actually literally Googled best episodes of Beyond Belief Fact or Fiction. And
Ooh,
I thought
okay.
it was going to be like a person who had like painstakingly watched every episode, and this person through their own like criteria have no. It's just what has the best rating per episode on IMDb, and I found that
Oh.
out later. The number one rated episode is from season 1, but as I said, you can get the hell out of here. No Frakes. No Frakes is a no-go for me.
No Frakes, no viewing.
But the number 2 episode, just star ratings wise on IMDb, as of this publication from 2017, is episode 2 of season 2. Okay, so the first I will say all of the episodes in this episode, all of the little stories in this episode are ghost related.
Ooh, fun. Okay.
Okay, and that's why I wore this shirt, because I ain't afraid of no ghost.
There it is.
So, this story is called Fire Station 32. Okay, it's wonderfully narrated by Frakes the whole time. Little Stevie what boy doesn't want to be a fireman when they grow up? Little Stevie sure did, and that's why he hung around the fire station in his neighborhood. And then they do some little backstory of like this guy who's the most senior member of that particular crew who works there. His name is, I don't know, let's say Parker. And he is played. There were a bunch of like, hey, I know that person from stuff in the 90s. This is Brian Haney, who you may not know by name, but he was one of the guys chasing the baby in Baby's Day Out, which is a wonderful slapstick comedy from the mid 90s. He was in a lot of stuff. He was in an episode of Seinfeld. He was in a lot of stuff in the 90s. So I have Brian Haney, stocky fella, blonde crew cut, perfectly cast as a fireman. He's the one who's got the real soft spot for Stevie. And they mention it only through, again, no real exposition. Who wants to write that? What it is they just have Frakes narrate it. And so he says, Parker and his wife were not able to have children of their own. So Stevie felt like to him like a surrogate son or whatever, right? There's the new captain in the firehouse who's only been there a little while. But doesn't understand why there's a child running around. He's 10, but apparently he's been coming there every day after school since he was 6. So like, I don't know what's going on at Stevie's house. But why
feels like absence of parents there.
That's a cry for help. I don't know why Stevie doesn't want to go home, but he wants to. I mean, unless maybe he wants to be a fire, but also it doesn't feel like anyone's ever met Stevie's parents. Like nobody's like, hey, go home and see, like, tell your dad I said hi. Nobody ever says that. Anyway, so it's like, hey, can I ride in the truck? We've been over this, Stevie. You're not allowed to ride in the truck until you're over. Well, when did you start being a real fireman? I joined up when I was 19. Well, that's when I'm gonna do it. And so, all right, Stevie. Well, you go home now. Whatever, because we got training to do, whatever. And so he's riding his bike home. Stevie is. And as he's passing a house, there's smoke pouring out of the windows of this house. And so he comes up to the door, and it easily pushes open. And you can hear people screaming, help, we're trapped, please help. And so he's like, hold on, hey, so find something to cover your mouth and get down on the floor. I'm going to see if I can get to you. And he goes into the house because apparently he's like, I don't know, knows how to do stuff like that just by osmosis. So anyway, he goes in, and the next shot is back at the firehouse, right? And Stevie runs up, and he says to Parker, "Hey, no," then he gives him the address and everything. "Hey, down in Hemingway Lane, there's a house that's on fire. I tried to get in, but I couldn't. You need to come fast." It's like, "Are you sure?" "Yeah, I wouldn't lie to you. You know that." "Okay, fine." So then he runs back, okay, out of the firehouse. And then the chief comes out of his office. What's all the big hubbub?" "Well, Stevie just saw a fire down, a couple blocks away. We haven't gotten an alarm. There's nothing going on. Nobody's called it in." "Are you sure?" "He wouldn't lie to me, sir." "All right, fine. You go check it out. And if there is a fire, you radio back to us. But take the small engine." So then he gets in the small engine, and Stevie's already in there. He's like, "Oh," he tells him the address again. It's like, "Okay, let's go." And they get there. And he immediately radios it in because it's a bigger fire now. And I was like, "Okay, Stevie, you wait here. I'm gonna see what I can do." And then later, the cut to all these old people being, I don't know, it's like family of 7 or 8 elderly brothers and sisters. I don't know. There's no children. Nobody of an age other than, I would say, under 75. But everyone's being carried out of the house. And Parker sits on the bumper of the fire station and says, "You did good, Stevie. All these people are alive because of you. Thanks so much for coming and telling me," and all this stuff. So says, and then you hear him say, somebody says, "Hey, Parker, come over here." And so it's like, "You wait here, Stevie." And he puts his fire helmet on him and he walks away. He's like, "Parker, I don't know how to tell you this. It's Stevie. I don't know how he even got here, but he's dead. He died of smoke inhalation. And here he is." And so he opens up the sheet. Like, "That's not possible." He looks back over at the bumper. There's no kid there. And he opens up the sheet. And there it's Stevie. So Stevie went in to try and save the people, but died himself. But then his ghost went back to the fire station and got Parker to come over to actually save the family. So so there you go. So let's do now here we go. Is it fact or fiction?
We made this one up.
No, that really happened.
Really?
This is the one This is the one I was like, "Okay, well, no. You owe me an interview with that fireman."
Yeah.
You owe me an interview with the fireman who said, like, the ghost of a little boy that I had known came to me and said, "There's a fire." Nobody else saw the little boy because of circumstances. And so then, but the little boy turns out was dead. That is one that I am owed. I am owed that.
RESPECT. Click the subscribe button and find out what it means to me. Nah, that doesn't have a ring to it. But if you like videos about real news stories that are funny, stupid, or weird, subscribe now.